Hey guys, I'm actually doing this video to talk about a pill called Cytotec that's given to women for miscarriages. So it's gonna be like detailed, gory, and if this is not something you're interested in, I'm just gonna let you know now. Keep scrolling, click on something else because this is strictly a review on a medication for miscarriages. And bear with me because this is my first video ever on anything, so I'm trying to, the lighting's bad at my house and I'm kind of nervous, so just bear with me on all of this. So the reason I'm doing this is because when I went through everything I did, and I wanted to research Cytotec, there wasn't a lot of information about it. A lot of times when I'm trying to figure out if I want to use a product, I'll Google, I'll YouTube, and I'll just see, people's reviews on the product. And there wasn't a lot out there about Cytotec. There wasn't a lot of videos. And I just think if I can help one person, one woman, to understand it better, then I've accomplished something. So, I'll just get right into it. I was diagnosed with a blighted ovum, which I had no idea, had never heard that before I actually was diagnosed with this. So basically, a sac forms in your uterus, but there's no baby. So everything about your body feels pregnant. You'll get the cramps, you'll get the mood swings, the nauseous, morning sickness, tired. Everything about your body feels pregnant. You technically are pregnant. There's just not a baby forming in the sac. And so when I first went to my first ultrasound appointment, and the lady told me, she said, you're not as far along as you say you are, or as you think you are. You probably just got your dates mixed up. I knew in the back of my mind that something wasn't right, because I knew when I got pregnant. I was almost positive. And I've had 2 healthy pregnancies, 2 healthy babies. I've been through this twice, so I know how it works. And there was just something inside of me that knew something wasn't right. So they wanted me to come back in 2 weeks just to see if my dates were wrong, and it was just too soon. And, if I came back in 2 weeks, there could be a baby. So basically in that time frame of the 2 weeks, I had plenty of time to research and, figure out all my options. If this wasn't going to be, I knew I was going to have to go through a miscarriage. So I had already pretty much prepared myself for the worst. That's just the kind of person that I am. And so sure enough, when I went back after my 2 weeks, there was still just a sac, no baby. So my doctor, after he looked at everything, he made sure that it wasn't going to be a viable pregnancy. And long story short, he gave me 3 options. Number 1 was that we could just wait and let nature take its course and let everything happen on its own. Number 2 is the Cytotec pills that they give you to start your miscarriage and get everything going. And then number 3 is the D&C surgery, which is where they actually go inside you, put you to sleep, go inside you, and clean everything out. They do all that. They do all the work, basically. I knew number 1 was not an option right off the bat because we were actually going on vacation in 3 weeks. So I thought, my luck, it would happen when we go on vacation, and I just didn't want to do that to myself. I didn't want to have to worry about it. I didn't want to have to do it to my family, and I just decided that's not an option. So that left me with the Cytotec and the D&C. I knew also that with the D&C, it was going to be pricey. Let's just be honest, when you get hospitalized for anything, it's expensive these days especially. And I think my deductible was like around $1,000, so I knew I was going to be out that much, and there's no telling what else. So I decided that wasn't an option either. So I had already made up my mind, Cytotec. My doctor actually, they have their laptops now, and he actually had already clicked that I was going to choose the D&C. Like, it really shocked him that I chose the Cytotec. He actually tried to talk me out of the Cytotec while we were sitting in his office. He said that him and his wife had 2 miscarriages, I think, before they had their first baby, and she decided on the Cytotec the first time, and he said it was a nightmare. She woke up in the middle of the night screaming. There was blood everywhere. And I mean, he honestly tried his very best to talk me into the D&C. I decided I was going to be a tough girl and I could handle it. And my thought process was, I've had 2 babies. I've been through this before. Blood doesn't really bother me. I'm not a squeamish kind of person. And I just really think I'm going to be fine. So that's what I decided. My doctor suggested that I do it at night because it's better just to be asleep when all that's going on or getting started. So that night, mine was 4 pills, and you can either take them orally or vaginally. Mine was vaginally, so yes, I had to insert them. My doctor suggested that I lay a towel down on my bed and just prepare myself for the worst, basically. So I woke up, and it says on the bottle, like, it'll start taking effect within 3 to 4 hours. I woke up around 3 to 4 hours. I think it was 4 hours, cramping. Nothing unbearable. I had already popped some Tylenol pills. Pain pills, I sound like no, it was Tylenol extra strength, so no. But, I was wanting to keep those in my system because I didn't want to have to hurt too bad. So I was cramping, but like I said, nothing unbearable. And I hadn't started bleeding yet. So after that, I was waking up every hour because I was still cramping, but it was like no blood. Every time I went to the bathroom to check, no blood. And I remember telling my husband, this is not going to work. I'm going to have to end up getting the surgery anyways, because I did read where some people didn't do anything. I mean, it had no effect to them whatsoever. So I thought, I'm going to be that woman that happens to. Finally, the next morning at 7 o'clock, I did start bleeding, thankfully, and it was heavy. It was just like a heavy period. I mean, it was what I was expecting. Nothing more, nothing less. I didn't go to work the next day. I stayed at home, and I was fine. I mean, emotionally, I was fine. Physically, I was fine. And I thought, this is nothing. I was like, I would recommend this. I mean, this is the easy way out, basically. So, I actually went back to work the next day, the following day after that. I was still bleeding, but it was probably like medium, nothing heavy, nothing light, like right in the middle. But I was still fine. And I remember saying, telling my coworkers, this thing has been a breeze. I would tell anybody to do this because I even remember thinking, I'm going to make a video and tell, other women that this is a good option to do, because compared to the D&C, my pills were $5 with my insurance. So this is like the cheap way out right here. So my doctor wanted to see me a week after because they have to do a transvaginal ultrasound to make sure everything has been passed, because if it's not passed, infection can set in and they will end up having to do a D&C if you don't pass everything. So I was, fingers crossed, hopefully we've passed everything. So he looks at the ultrasounds and he says, it looks like you've passed enough. He said it still looks like you have a little more to pass, but it looks like you've passed most of it, so you're good. We're not going to do a D&C. We're not going to have to do that. So I remember that night starting to cramp and bleed heavier than I had bled. But I just thought, since they did that ultrasound, maybe it got some things stirred up, and I didn't really think much of it. And then it quit, so I really didn't think anything. The next night, I was actually at home with my kids after work. My husband was working. He works nights, so he wasn't here. And I had just put my kids to bed. I was getting the nightly task done of, picking up toys and washing dishes and all that. But I remember standing in my kitchen cleaning dishes, and when I say blood, I mean was pouring. It was pouring out of me. I mean, just all of a sudden, out of nowhere. I actually had on a large maxi pad, and it bled through that, my panties, and my pants. And it mortified me. Because like I've said, I've had 2 kids. I've went through 2 labor and deliveries. I've never bled this much. So I go change, and I think, maybe this is just a part of it. Well, it doesn't stop. And it's to the point where I'm soaking pads in minutes, and it's scaring me to death. And then you'll get like a packet of instructions, I guess, with your pills. And so I, of course, read all that, and it says if you're soaking a pad an hour for, I can't remember, a couple hours, then you need to go to the emergency room. I was soaking pads in minutes, and all I could think about in my mind is hemorrhaging. And I've heard of that, and I know it's a thing, and that's all. I mean, it just kept on. Lauren, you're going to hemorrhage. Lauren, you need to go to the emergency room. And my doctor even told me, do not go to the emergency room unless you think you're dying, because they can't do anything for you. And I was like, I'm not going to go, trust me, because I don't want that bill, number one. And I'm going to be fine. And so that was playing in my mind. So it was like I was going back and forth, like, should I go? Should I not? So I called my mom. And I tell her what's going on, which she's never been through this either. So she had no idea what to tell me. But she said, it just doesn't sound right for you to be bleeding that much and it not stop. So I said, well, let me give it about 30 more minutes. And if I'm still bleeding, I'll go. Still bleeding. 30 minutes. Still bleeding. So I call my husband, let him know I'm going to Pontoc Hospital, which is it's literally like 5 minutes up the road. He's gonna try to get off work so he can get there as fast as possible. They didn't know what to do. I mean, I could tell by the looks on their faces, they were freaked out as well. When I got there, there was blood pouring down my legs. There was blood on the floor. There was blood all over my bed. I mean, I've honestly never seen so much blood come out of me. And it was just a very traumatic experience. So they first say they're going to pack me because I'm bleeding too much and they've got to stop it. But then my doctor calls the women's hospital in Tupelo, and they're like, no, don't pack her. She needs to get all that out. So they had to end up sending me to Tupelo Women's Hospital. And I get there, and the doctor's just like, you're just now having your miscarriage, basically. And even on that packet with the medicine, it tells you most everything you pass will be in the first 24 hours. So I'm thinking, this has been a week and a half later, and I just don't understand why it's just now happening to me. But everybody's different. Everyone's body's different. And I guess it just took mine later to take into effect. So he has to go and check me, and that's like the most painful thing because I'm literally contracting. I mean, my cramps were so bad. It was actually worse than when I had my 2 kids. Honestly. I mean, yeah, I can honestly say that. I was contracting, and I remember telling my husband, if they don't come in here soon, they're going to have to give me some pain medication, because I took Tylenol extra strength and it did nothing. I mean, it didn't touch my pain that I was having. So anyways, the doctor did something while he was checking me, and he said it looked like I had passed everything. And I'm thinking, well, surely I did, because of all the blood that's literally come out of my body tonight. And so I don't know what he really did, but I think he did something, because it was very painful. And it seemed like after that, the blood kind of trickled off a little bit. But I'm making this video because I thought I was going to be the tough girl, and I thought I could handle this. And the truth is, I couldn't. When it come down to it, you can't prepare yourself for something like this. And even though I was emotionally stable, I would not wish this whole thing, like I said, on my worst enemy. I mean, I will never get this night. It was traumatic for me. It was traumatic for my husband. He won't ever admit this to you, but when we went back there to see the doctor, he almost passed out because of how much pain I was in, and like the blood and everything. I mean, it was awful. And if you've had a miscarriage, my heart goes out to you. It's never an easy thing, whether it's your first baby, whether you have 3 kids, whether you have 10 kids. It's not easy, and everyone goes through things differently. But having good people around you, friends, family, God, just praying. I mean, that's what helps you get through all of it, so that it gets better. But the main reason I made this video was I wanted other women to be aware of the Cytotec, my review on Cytotec. And like I said, everybody's body's different. You may take it and may decide to take it, and it'd be a totally different experience for you, but there wasn't hardly anything out there on it, so that's why I wanted to make this, just so even if it helps one person, I've accomplished something. I think I've covered everything. I don't think I've missed anything, but y'all are welcome to message me if you have any questions. And I think that's it.